objectively to say that he's tortured, I don't know what that means. They're not, as far as I know, the law enforcement is not taking, red hot pokers and putting them in his eyes. So that to me is torture. But so the question is, does he feel subjectively like he's being tortured? And the answer to that, I think, is he probably does. But does that influence his confessions? Does that influence?
Volume 21, page 215. He was tossed in the most secure unit in the state of Indiana, and he was treated just like the rest. That's what we heard. He was treated just like the rest of the convicted murderers that were his cellmates, the rest of the convicted child molesters that were on that unit. The most heinous individuals in the state were his neighbors, and he was treated just like them. In fact, not only was he treated just like them, he was immediately placed on suicide watch. The evidence suggests that no human, no matter how strong, could endure those conditions for that long a period of time without having some kind of breakdown. Stripped of almost every necessity of a man's life and sent to a place where you have very few, given a suicide smock, basically a caveman gown. You have to eat off the floor, compete with mice droppings, ants.
And it wasn't solitary confinement.
Go ahead. Go ahead. He had an iPad.
All the while, his neighbors calling him a child killer, a baby killer. In an 8x12 cell, cinder block walls, concrete floor, no blanket at times, steel toilet that was next to his, where he laid his head at night. I recall asking Warden Gallipo at one point about Rick's opportunities to go to rec. There are rec yards all over that facility. Ball diamonds, volleyball courts, basketball courts. He didn't see one, not one time. On top of that, when he got to go to therapy, shackled his arms, put a box cuff on him, his legs, belly chain, a lead. I call it a leash. Argue about that all you want. And he was walked to a cage down the hall where he got to talk to his therapist. Same with the shower. The 30-day rule in the DOC. The 30-day rule. Here's the point. Solitary confinement is damaging to a man or woman's brain. It doesn't matter if you have a business designation as a safekeeper. If you're held in solitary confinement, Dr. Gracian said the international standard was 15 days. But when you're held in solitary confinement, the evidence is firm that eventually you're going to break. You can only handle so much. Rick Allen, more than 30 days, those 30 turned to 60, 60 turned to 90, 90 to 120. And I could keep doing the math. What the dust settled, he was there for 13 months. How much can one human endure? How much? And they didn't want to show you the video. They didn't want you to see that. It's insulting.
He felt tortured, right? Like, of course, the prosecution is trying to show, no, he wasn't in solitary. He had tablets, he had all this stuff. And the defense, of course, is trying to say he was absolutely, tortured into.
Whatever you know about him, how does that weigh into a false confession? So let me ask you this: know about him, how does that weigh into a false confession? So let me ask you know about him, how does that weigh into a false confession? So let me.